This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today evening news update for Wednesday, October 7th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. The National Union of Public Workers is requesting that the terms of employment for workers to be transferred to the Barbados Revenue Authority be completed by March next year. The call followed a near 2-hour meeting with customs officers this afternoon to discuss the issue. Today's talks follow industrial action by customs officers in July over what they said at the time was government's attempts to railroad them into transitioning to the BRA and its failure to appoint temporary officers. The officers have still not yet indicated whether they will agree to the transfer to the Revenue Authority. Representatives from a number of Caribbean countries are meeting here over the next 2 days to discuss challenges facing small island states. Representatives from Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia and the OECS Commission are discussing the development of vulnerability resilience country profiles for small island developing states. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Senator Jepta Ince, says it is important that the countries develop individual profiles in this current climate.
Your deliberations over the next few days must encompass an optimal design and practical governance framework for building resilience around 5 pillars, namely macroeconomic stability, macroeconomic market efficiency, good governance, social development and cohesion, and sound environmental management. There must also be some consensus for the push for the adoption of vulnerability and resilience index by international financial institutions and the use of resilience profiling to drive progress toward greater resilience. Note also that country profiling should be advocated as a mechanism to identify resilient gaps and inform national strategies to guide change in a results-oriented way.
Officials of 2 of the sectors hit by gun violence in recent times are calling for more to be done to bring the perpetrators to justice. The plea comes from the Barbados Agricultural Society and the Barbados Petroleum Dealers Association, the umbrella body for service station operators. Their concerns follow a string of gas station robberies and the shooting death of 23-year-old Jamal Worrell last Friday on a farm in St. Peter. They told Barbados Today the situation is worrying and protecting their workers and businesses is now a top priority. BAS President James Paul says Worrell's murder was a painful reminder of the risk that agricultural workers are facing.
But the fact that they are now using guns and taking the lives of farmers and really to protect that young man's life is something, of course, that we all have to condemn. And I do hope that justice is brought to those persons who perpetrated that particular crime. I think we should do everything possible to ensure that the persons who perpetrated that crime, that they are brought to justice.
Meanwhile, the acting president of the Petroleum Dealers Association says gas stations have already stepped up their security as a result of the situation. Police are appealing to motorists to exercise caution, especially during the rainy weather. The call comes from the acting public relations officer, Station Sergeant Roland Cobbler, following the latest vehicular accident this morning in which several people were injured.
I just want to make an appeal to motorists to exercise a greater level of due care and attention while using the road. Be mindful of the fact that the rain is upon us now and that it is imperative that their driving practices coincide with the conditions of the roadway. So driving practices must change based on the road conditions.
In sports, the warm-up match between West Indies and the Sri Lanka Cricket Presidents 11 has been postponed by 1 day due to rain. The match was scheduled to start tomorrow, but it will now begin on Friday and continue through to Sunday. A statement from the West Indies Cricket Board says rain has left the outfield at the Sinhalese Sports Club very wet. The West Indies will use the match as preparation for the 2-match test series against their host. The first test will be played at the Gala International Stadium from October 14 to 18, and the second will run from October 22nd to 26 at the Pissarra Oval in the capital, Colombo.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, Caribbean Airlines has announced it is suspending its London route from next year. The airline says it will focus more on the North American and Caribbean markets. We get more in this report from Capital News.
Effective January 10 of next year, Caribbean Airlines will stop flying the London route completely. The company says operating the Boeing 767 that was used on that route was too costly. The airline noted that its customers have loyally supported the London service, especially in the peak periods. The airline explained, however, that it will now be focusing its resources to build connectivity in the North America and Caribbean markets. Caribbean Airlines will assist its customers with finding alternative travel arrangements to and from London, having communicated its plans to other airlines serving the route and offering them full refunds.
The Austrian Chancellor is calling for European solidarity over the migrant crisis. He was speaking during a visit to the Greek island of Lesbos. Thousands of refugees continue to arrive in Europe and Lesbos, and this is the first point of entry for many. We get more in this report from the BBC.
After a bit of a lull during some rough weather, the boats are coming in again thick and fast, bringing with them several thousand people every day. The surge of arrivals is putting a massive strain on Greek resources. Just checking and registering all these newcomers before they travel on and providing them with the basics to survive is a huge task. That's what brought the Austrian Chancellor here. He's the first European leader to visit what is one of the main gateways for migrants. Many of them later make their way through Austria. The Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras was there to show him round, despite his preoccupation with his country's crippling financial crisis. The two men were shown round the main facilities for processing the arrivals, some of them showing clear signs of distress. Others weren't shy about voicing their complaints to the Prime Minister. These were Iraqis who'd been taken to account for just Syrians and kept waiting for several days.
Don't worry, we fix it.
But the two men know that the wider problem isn't that easy to fix. This was primarily a visit of solidarity, Austria with Greece and both with the refugees. And they said it had to go further than that.
We should distribute them in a fair way. So there is also a question of solidarity. It's a question of solidarity to finance all these concepts and programs, to realize them, and on the other hand, to distribute them. And so I think we have to decide solidarity or against each other. And I think there is no alternative to solidarity.
And that's the news and sports. There's more on www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations. You can also catch us on Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Good evening.